This Week in Startups is brought to you by Braintree. Looking to set up payments for your business? Braintree gives your app or website a payment solution that accepts just about every payment method with one simple integration. Plus, we'll give you your first $50,000 in transactions fee-free. To learn more, visit braintreepayments.com/twist.
Hey everybody, it's a special e-commerce episode of This Week in Startups. We have three amazing companies on the program. BenchMade Modern, which makes couches to the inch within 24 hours. CloudPeeps, which is a marketplace for freelance social media content producers. It's an amazing, awesome marketplace. And Bento, customized on-demand Asian food. We talk about e-commerce through the lens of these three different businesses, brought to you by our friends at Braintree. Stick with us. It's an amazing episode. You're going to learn a lot.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah, money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah, we ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hey everybody, welcome to a special episode of This Week in Startups. We're going to talk about e-commerce today. As you know, Amazon has been growing like crazy. People are getting food delivered to their house from Bento and Sprig and Instacart. The world is changing. People are getting products in the same day, sometimes in the same hour, sometimes in 15 minutes. E-commerce is eating the world. It's changing. And we are going to talk on today's special episode to three different startups that are revolutionizing the e-commerce space. Thanks to our friends at Braintree for sponsoring this episode, because you know they're involved in e-commerce as well. We'll hear about that later. The first company is a company I'm an investor in. It's called BenchMade Modern, and the founder, Edgar, is with us. Welcome to the program, Edgar.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now I've invested a little bit in your company. A little bit of cheddar.
You have?
I got a horse in the race, as we say. So what is BenchMade Modern, and how does it work?
So we make custom by-the-inch sofas in as little as 24 hours. You can get them anywhere between, say, 35 inches all the way up to 10 feet. We make every shape and size you can imagine. We're basically sofas on demand.
And by the inch.
Yeah.
Now, I know about this by the inch because, listen, I made a little bit of money back in the day, and my wife said, we need couches. I said, great, let's go to Crate and Barrel, which is where I used to buy my couches.
Yep.
And my wife said, hey, schmuck, you have some cheddar now. We're going to get custom couches made by the inch that actually fit in our house. And we bought three couches, and I think they cost something in the range of like $7,000 to $10,000 each. And I was like, $7,000 to $10,000 for a sofa? Are you crazy?
Yeah, you are.
And she's like, well, you know, Crate and Barrel's $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000. This is 10 years ago. I think things were a little more expensive then. And I said, well, okay, whatever. I mean, this is a $3 million house, and if we're going to spend, a $3 million house, maybe we splurge and we get $7,000 couches for it. But I got ripped off, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, definitely.
What does BenchMade Modern charge for by-the-inch sofas that I spent $7,000-8,000 on each?
So I would assume
$20,000 on sofas, by the way. Very hard for me to write that check.
I would assume, I mean, that's probably a pretty big sofa. But at the same time,
they were large. Multi-piece.
Multi-piece, yeah. A standard sofa for us is about $2,000. That's about a, 8-foot sofa, something like that.
You fit three people on that.
Yeah. That includes delivery to the house.
Great.
Which I'm sure you paid quite a bit more for on top of that.
Yeah, probably $500.
But the real thing that we do that the Crate can't do, and probably the place where you had your custom sofas made, is we can make that custom sofa quickly, very quickly.
Yeah, these took months.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Lots of agita because, we had ordered them and then we were having everybody over for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We had to get the couches in time, so it became a whole big brouhaha.
Yeah, that's, there's sofa season, and that's from Thanksgiving to New Year's. And so people are all cramming to get their sofas in time.
Why is that? Because people are buying them as presents, or they're just... Having
for
people
parties.
over. Oh, for parties. Yeah, that's what I would suspect.
Yeah, and there's a big anxiety level that happens right in there when you've made that purchase. It's the dead zone. You've swiped a card, and it's kind of like lights out. And it's 4, 6, 8 weeks, and you have no idea whether your sofa made it or is going to make it or not. You've got family coming to town, and it's a disaster. So we're trying to solve, that entire problem by making a sofa pretty much on demand.
Okay, so show us how it works. You go to the website, and what happens?
Yeah, so you go to the website. You come to the sofa page. Let's just pick Tyler here.
Insights from Tyler. That's for the old fans of the show.
A bunch of different Tyler collections. We'll go all the way down to, say, a sectional sofa here.
Yeah, that's what I paid $7,000 for.
Yeah.
Sectional. $4,000.
$4,000
Half
here.
price. Oh,
you can rotate it around.
That's gorgeous looking.
Yeah, we'll change it.
That's very modern.
To gray.
Look at the legs.
Very
and
modern.
everything.
We got walnut legs. You can rotate it, kind of see what it is. At that point, let's go blonde legs.
That's very Mad Men. Is that right?
It is very Mad Men. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be something from the 50s in a suburban home?
Yeah.
Or a lobby?
This whole mid-century modern style is really hot. It's been hot for quite some time.
That's what they call it, mid-century modern. If I want to be fancy pants, I say that.
Yeah.
All right. That's mid-century modern. I have a lot of that in my home.
So you can drop down. We're going to change some of the sizes. We're going to go, let's say, 85 inches on one side.
Oh, and it tells you exactly what you're paying per inch?
Exactly.
And the more inches is more money or less inches? Because I see a bunch of different numbers there.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's about $23 per inch.
Got it.
Per inch.
Okay.
So that's how we work it out. So this particular sofa, we're going to make it a smaller size. It's going to fit into an apartment.
Okay.
We're going to make it 85 by 67.
Yep.
And at this point here, you get to determine whether or not you want that sofa made standard in 7 days, which is still super fast for a custom sofa.
So 7 days to build.
7 days to build.
Now, if I was in San Francisco or Los Angeles, what is the time it will take for me to get this?
San Francisco, we'll make it in 7 days, and you'll have that sofa 2-3 days later.
So 10 days?
Yeah, at the most. New York is 5 to 7 days.
Of shipping?
Yeah.
So 2 weeks?
Yeah. But
this is kind of revolutionary. I mean, you can't buy a sofa that fast in New York, let alone buy the inch.
No. But then wait. We're going to let you choose to have it made in 24 hours. And we're going to do that for a small additional charge. So in this case, it's $400. Now, this is a sectional sofa. We're going to make it
10% more.
10% more, custom to your exact size in $400.
When consumers see this level, and you've been in the furniture business, you've been a designer of furniture for 20 years.
Yeah, 25.
25. So did you think 25 years ago that you'd be able to do something like this? It seemed like an impossibility, didn't it?
No. I started manufacturing sofas about 8 years ago through other manufacturers. And I had been pushing and trying different things, and they couldn't get it done. And I basically had to build my own factory to be able to do this within 24 hours.
Got it.
Yeah. So, we've kind of changed the way it's done, and we're certainly shaking up the furniture industry for sure.
Great. So now what happens next?
So you choose, let's say you want it done in 24 hours. We need it in a hurry. You can then hit the send the printout button. And what's cool about this is, in this case, we'll send it. We've already, chosen the size. It's already going to our address there. But the cool thing is that you get, problem there. You get a you get a full-scale printout.
You have it right there in the tube.
I do.
Yeah, so there's a tube. You get this tube in the mail.
It's a full-scale printout.
What does that cost you? $10 to send that?
Yeah, it's. I think this was about $6, and we have another $3 or $4 in the printout.
Okay. And then open it up. Take it out. What does it look like? You can just basically hold it right in front of your face, and we'll see.
Yeah. You basically roll this out.
Look at that. How beautiful.
It's got by the inch sizing.
Got it. And what do you tape it to the floor? You just lay it on the floor?
You do. You push it up against the floor. You can make sure it fits.
You could then probably either add inches or cut inches, right? Because you give a couple of hash marks there.
You do.
You got the hash mark. Show
Yeah.
that, guys,
Yeah.
here on the
Yeah,
thing. So
we
you have those
definitely-
hash marks, 69 inches, 68, 67. So when you lay it down, if I ordered the 66 inches, you show me the next 3 inches up.
You do. We do. And that really takes care of that, do I know how to use a tape measure? Oh my God, did I order it the right size? So we send this in the mail along with some swatches.
So you get a little feel for your material.
You can feel the material.
Anybody send it back after they order it and feel like, oh my God, it wasn't what I thought? Because the idea of buying a sofa unseen was something people would not have done 20 years ago. But my sense is today, because of Zappos helping people like buy shoes, whatever, people are a little bit more risk-taking in e-commerce today, aren't they?
They are, for sure. It wasn't that long ago when, sending a sofa was kind of like, there's no way we're going to do that.
Right.
And the mentality has totally changed. People are understanding that they can get that done. We describe fit and feel really well, and so you know what you're going to get before you even get it.
Okay. When we get back from this commercial break, I want to hear about how you actually logistically track these sofas through the process, because you've done some innovative stuff there in tracking,
absolutely.
and what the impact of tracking and communication is on people's satisfaction when doing e-commerce on This Week in Startups. Hey everybody, let me tell you a little bit about Braintree. It's a full stack payment solution for all your payment types for your customers. Yes, you can do mobile payments fast, easy, seamless, and secure. And you can add it to your apps with just a few lines of code, and then you'll be able to accept Apple Pay, Android Pay, PayPal, Venmo, credit cards, and of course, Bitcoin, everything. And if some other new way to pay people comes along, you know the Braintree team will support that too. Developers love it, founders love it, because it's got superior fraud protection, fast payouts, and continuous world-class support. You'll have fewer abandoned carts, more sales with Braintree's best-in-class mobile checkout. And their customers include, are you ready for this? Uber, Thumbtack, Hotel Tonight, Airbnb, GitHub, and StubHub. And I'm an investor in 2 of those 6 companies. And you'd be in good company to be in that class of companies. Well, here's the call to action, everybody. They're going to give you $50,000 in transactions fee-free. Yes, that's for the people who are on the This Week in Startups audience. If they go to braintreepayments.com/twist, braintreepayments.com/twist, and you'll get $50,000 fee-free. You can't go wrong with that. Developers love it. It's easy to use. What more do you need to know? Thank you to my friends at Braintree for sponsoring independent media like This Week in Startups. Okay, let's get back to the program. Hi, everybody. Welcome to This Week in Startups. It is our e-commerce spectacular. 3 companies doing really interesting but different things in the e-commerce space. Edgar from BenchMade Modern, which I have an investment in, is our first guest here. And when we left our hero making by-the-inch sofas, we were talking a little bit about tracking things in the process. So now when you previously ordered a sofa, you swipe your credit card and then you go into the black hole of calling furniture stores or distributors and getting the runaround from people and having massive anxiety. You decided to take some anxiety out of the process. How do you do that? And show us, of course, on your screen.
Yeah, we did. We got tired of taking calls of people just like looking for their product and flipping out.
You can Command plus that once or twice and we make it readable. Good, there we go, boom. Okay, so you see the orders received, right?
So here's what happens. We actually send a link to the customer of their exact order. Once they make that swipe, they get a link. Mm-hmm. It's to their own tracker page.
They hit submit.
Yes.
In this case, they didn't go to a store. Yeah.
In this case up top, that actual sofa would be their sofa. That's our Series 7 sofa. This is an actual order. It's actually already gone quite a bit through the process, through framing, through sewing. We'll send you notifications along the way.
That's why the checkbox is there. It's not in gray. It's in gold, BenchMade gold.
Exactly.
And it has the check marks there. Upholstery's been done.
Upholstery's done. You can click on it.
Oh, look at that. You can see the person. Is that your actual sofa?
Yeah, that's an actual sofa being made.
An actual or
Not the, but an actual sofa being made by our upholsterers. We tell you a little about it.
So that's a little like bespoke, right? It kind of gives people a clue into how this is done?
Yeah,
People like that?
Yeah, this is actually a sofa's handmade. I mean, there's a real guy making your product all the way down the line. So we go through that. We tell you a little about it. We might tell you a little bit about the sewing, how much thread. There's 3 football fields of thread in every sofa. Just some fun, interesting facts like that. And then, of course, we notify you along the way. As soon as that sofa is ready to is packed up and ready to be shipped, we send you a link to a tracker page. Now, this particular sofa is looks like it's on its way from the factory
in somewhere way east of Los Angeles.
Yeah, this is actually just waiting at the cross dock to be moved on another truck. So once this will move, you'll see this move across the map all the way to your door, just like an Uber car.
Which is completely unnecessary for a sofa. But you decided to do this anyway.
Well, here's why we did it.
Or is it completely unnecessary?
There's 100 different trucking companies across America. To get a sofa to New York, it's 4 or 5 different trucks.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
How does that work?
The pickup is a truck. The line haul is a truck. Sometimes there's 2 cross docks within that line haul. The line haul is the long distance run. And then, let's say getting into New York, there's the final delivery guy. Now remember, this is the trucking industry. This is not FedEx. So Bob's, truck does not have FedEx style tracking.
No barcode reader.
No, absolutely not. So what we do is we bypass that entire system.
How?
We put a tracker on it, and we allow you to track all the way.
You ever
to
catch
your door.
anybody stealing one of these?
No. Well, you know what? It's
you ever
funny.
catch anybody lying about the truck's almost there and it's not?
Yeah, not yet. No.
You will though.
We might.
Do you put it inside the body of the sofa, or is it just attached to the side?
No, we put it in the sofa. We ask the customer to mail it back.
So it's like under the cushion or something?
They get an envelope, and it says mail back. We haven't had anyone not mail it back, but I'll tell you what. If it's been sitting in their living room for 2 weeks, I'll know. And we just make a call and say, hey,
can we get our tracker back?
Can we get our tracker back? It's been driving around Chicago for a week. Can you just put it in the mailbox?
That is fascinating that you did an end run and put your own trackers in.
Yeah.
Because it is a high ticket item.
Yeah.
And people deserve to know where their $4,000 or $3,000 sofa is.
But Jason, it's all about the anxiety. You have no idea how much anxiety happens between the card swipe and the final delivery.
For sure. It's gratuitous, but it's delightful. And if you can do it for under $50 or $40 or whatever it costs for that tracker, why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that what it costs? 30, $40?
Yeah, about that.
But you can use that tracker 10 times a year.
We use it more than that, yeah.
20 times. So it winds up being a couple of dollars, ultimately.
Yeah, in the end.
In the end. You amortize it over a bunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're going to do your own little mini storefronts, too. There's one under construction right now.
Yeah, we have a store coming at 16th and Valencia, right in the heart of San Francisco, right in the thick of it. We're super excited.
That's the mission.
Yeah, the mission.
So there will be hipsters.
Yeah, there will be hipsters.
There will be blood. There will be hipsters. So you can have hipsters come in, and then they go to the store.
They walk into the store. They walk up to an iPad. They swipe through. We're calling these sit shops. So there's little 1,200 square foot.
Sit shops?
Sit shops.
SIT.
Yeah.
You come in, you sit.
You sit on it. You test it out. It's a hybrid store. So it's online, but in-store experience.
Right, because normally these furniture stores take up a ton of space, and we used to have them here on, say, Fillmore Street, but then Fillmore Street got too hip and expensive. The rent went through the roof.
Absolutely.
And then all the furniture stores had to leave Fillmore and go somewhere else. This is what's happening in every city, right? They have you need 10,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet to have a furniture store.
Yeah, and what's happening?
You need 800, 1,200.
As a culture, we're learning how to buy on the internet. So that swipe factor, swiping through sofas, is becoming more in line with what we're doing on a day-to-day basis.
The swiping from the iPad, the gesture-based commerce is a thing.
Yeah, versus walking around a store and trying to figure out what it is and not being able to see two side by side.
So in a way, the swipe builds confidence in the purchase, and that's the expectation as opposed to a brochure or a web page. It's about swiping through beautiful images. And I think people also are getting used to the idea of a 3D model. I know for me, I just bought these James Bond shoes from Spectre that I really thought were awesome, and they're made by some company in wherever, London. And I really wanted them, and they had a 3D, like you could rotate them in 3D space. You could see the soles, and I really cared about the soles, and I flipped them, and I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a 400-pound pair of shoes, which is, I think, $700. It's the most expensive shoes by a factor of 2 I've ever bought in my life, but they said they last for 20 years. I figured this is the last pair of shoes I'm buying.
Yeah.
But I felt it was something about rotating it in that real 3D model that built my confidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
You agree with that as an e-commerce company, that the rotating and the 3D models build confidence, or not?
Well, we do it. We do it on
But
some
do you
of our
think that
pieces.
I'm making this up, or do you think other people have this? Is it a trend that people, like, when they see the 3D and you can rotate 3D objects, that it builds confidence in the product, or not? Because I find I love doing that.
I think it does build confidence. I think by being able to see the back, by being able to see the bottom, by understanding the product just a little bit better, I think that conveys, you can at least see the quality.
Does this mean that VR and AR will play a role in furniture in the future? And I don't mean this to be like a pompous tech guy, but do you think it would be
It's already
like
happening.
It's already happening?
Yeah.
You could walk in a 3D space, sit in it, or put on glasses and see the...
Yeah, we're already like starting to test that with a couple different partners.
Brilliant.
Yeah, where you can actually walk in to your room. Our pieces would be loaded up in that already, so you can swipe and put some pieces right into your space. It's happening.
We had a bookshelf company at the launch festival that did this, where you could build like custom shelves, and then you would hold up your phone, and through your phone you would see, it would overlay the shelves against that wall.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
3.
Yeah, things have totally changed since then. I mean, it's gotten way, way, way better.
Yeah, I think that this, like, walking around and seeing the stuff in VR is, I think the VR stuff, like, I was a big skeptic, but I do think that, like, the VR, when you combine it with e-commerce, real beautiful stuff, and then I think it could work.
Yeah, there's a sense of feeling with that too. For some reason, it conveys feeling, and I think that correlates really well to interiors.
Oh yeah, for design.
Yeah.
Like, I think House is that app that everybody loves so much. I don't use it, but I think, like, the entire house experience, like walking into houses in virtual reality, will be transformative. Like, people will buy sofas. I think people are going to buy apartments and houses, because it's already happening. People in China, my understanding is some of the speculators are buying apartments and houses without ever seeing them, and then they move here from China and then move into the house that they bought on virtual reality.
Yeah, because it really is getting that good.
It is getting that good.
Yeah.
All right, listen, continued success, Edgar, and everybody who wants to order a couch, go to BenchMadeModern.com. Is there a promo code? Do you have promo codes?
Yeah, we can give you a promo code.
Okay, what is it?
What are we doing? We're like take 20?
Take 20. So if they use take, T-A-K-E, and then the number 20,
20.
take 20 means you get $20,000 off.
Well,
No.
not quite.
20%.
Yeah.
20% off for already a very good deal.
Yeah. That's a lot of dinners.
That's a lot of dinners. There we go. Take 20. Everybody go take 20. Congratulations. And I love the product, and that's why I'm an investor. All right. Let's do a little quick commercial break, and we'll come back with another great e-commerce company. Okay, welcome back, everybody. And it is our e-commerce special, looking at marketplaces, buying, selling, hiring and marketplaces for services is becoming a huge, huge category in e-commerce. We saw Gigster on the program. You've got Elance and Guru and all these other services out there, 99 Designs, all different ways of hiring people to solve problems in your business on demand. So it's kind of the Uberification of freelancers. And Kate Kendall is with a service I just found out about called CloudPeeps. I'm not an investor in the company yet. I've been talking to her about that, though. Who knows? Anything can happen. And CloudPeeps is a very clever business that allows you to find freelance marketing content community professionals, but they're all vetted.
Yeah, that's right.
That seems to be the key to CloudPeeps, isn't it?
I think so, because if you look at the first generation, I think, of talent marketplaces, freelance marketplace, and I must say, accent, I'm British Australian, so we're the land in Australia of freelance marketplaces. So there's so many that have come out there, and especially in the design.
Why is that?
Because I think we are isolated, and for accessing talent, like outsourcing in Australia was never a dirty word. It was just part of what we had to do.
Yeah, there's a limited number of people on the island.
Yeah. So then lots of companies are out there, 99 Designs, Design Crowd, Freelancer.com, all of those. And I really see them being about volume. And it was always about, kind of finding the lowest cost.
Yeah.
And then I think what's happened now, the future of work is changing. More and more people are freelancing. 40% of the US economy is set to be freelance by 2020. And it's no longer this kind of, it's global, but it's also very local. And that's why I think quality and actually vetting people and having great talent is the key issue now. So the number one concern of founders isn't necessarily how cheap can I get someone. It's I have a problem with finding good talent and retaining good talent.
Show us how it works.
All right. Okay, great.
Sure.
So
some interesting ideas around the workflow here.
Sure. So this is the homepage at the moment, and of course, iterating on this all the time. And then once you log in, which I already am here, and I must say I am a shopper of peeps. So my team keeps saying, Kate, stop hiring peeps. I've hired so many peeps through CloudPeeps, PR, marketing, content. I don't like the word dog food. I don't, but
dog feeding your own service, which means using your own service, but you've used Peeps to grow Peeps.
Yeah, and that's even why I created it, which we can get into later.
Right.
So there's 3 or 4 ways that we match right now. There's a concierge service, which is, I don't know what I need. I've got a marketing budget. I need to grow my company. Help. And that's where we will go through and look at their needs and then identify which peeps and what channels.
So if I said to you, listen, I want to spend $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
We have 8 episodes of This Week in Startups every month. How should I spend that to increase awareness of the program?
Definitely.
You would come back to me with a plan.
Yeah, and I mean, for transparency, you've listed a job at
I
the
listed
moment.
a job there just to see.
Yeah, and so that could have been funneled into the concierge where we're like, actually, you should be doing a bit of distribution hacking. You should be doing, the Medium post. So that's a pain point in itself. And even companies, we talked about Gigster, the artificial intelligence of breaking down how people, project, map out a project and set those milestones is a challenge in itself. And that's why other freelance marketplaces, it's actually quite hard because if you don't know what you need, then you're on your own. So we have the concierge, then we have the ability to browse peeps. And so you can go here and go, say I need someone who's doing social media in the US. We want to get more granular over time. You can search for San Francisco, maybe a few hours a week. And then these people will come up. Peter's brilliant, so I can view his profile. And then he's worked at places like Oracle. He's also got Cisco. And then here's a couple of other example profiles. So you can view their profile, and you can also chat with them through the site. And then so that you can just see the type of experience. Shannon's my content marketer. She's brilliant. This is kind of showing off some of the samples. Carrie's amazing. She's worked at places like Intercom. So we've really been able to attract talent from great companies that have then started to go freelance. And then the other way, which I'll just switch to, is the kind of traditional pitching proposal-based. So someone will come on here and say, this is an example.
I put a pitch up there.
Yeah, so this is your pitch, for instance.
Pull up my pitch. Let's see how many people applied.
You've already ruled someone out, I saw.
I didn't rule anyone out.
No, that's actually our matching specialist saying that's what qualified.
Okay, so here's what I wrote. I'm looking for somebody to write a Medium post about what was learned from an episode of This Week in Startups, not just and then to do timestamps and tell us which videos and then maybe some tweets. And it would take maybe 3 to 5 hours.
Yeah, so then we have the guidelines, we have commitment in there. And what's really great is this is a really good way to test a relationship. So marketing's changing. It's no longer, you hire one person who's a CMO that's meant to be this unicorn that does everything for you. Especially even when you make full-time hires, people get a marketer in-house and then they think they're going to do everything and, make their sales triple in a month and all of these things. And what's brilliant about CloudPeeps is you can actually find someone, test the relationship, scale it up, get them an expert in that channel, and then move on to the next person who can help you. So from there, these are Jason's pitches.
Oh, here we go.
And Peter, who we just saw, has sent a pitch through.
Oh, I haven't seen this yet. I haven't gone through and reviewed.
So he's saying, look, your podcasts are something that I already enjoy and listen to weekly.
Oh, good.
Also subscribe to Launch Ticker. And
so he's a fan.
And I'm going to your launch festival in March.
Great, trifecta. I love it.
He's a super fan, he actually says.
Good.
And he lives in San Francisco. It's a no-brainer, woohoo. And then he goes through and addresses the guidelines in bullet points. and then he looks at how he should distribute the content and how he would do the summary of the content. So from there, you can hire him or rule him out.
Cool.
These are a bit of the admin tools down the bottom.
And people generally cost $30 to $40 an hour, it seems, in the social media marketing space.
That's right. So the limit that we've got on the marketplace full stop is $30. So you can't actually hire someone less than that. And that's really strategic. So that's the starting point.
This is not for hiring people in Manila.
It's not $5 an hour.
$5 an hour, Upworthy kind of people.
Yeah, it's definitely, a lot of the thing is communication overhead. So when I've been hiring, I really want to hit the ground running. I don't want to spend too much time explaining, hey, this is where I operate, this is my market, this is the domain we're in, these are the influencers in the market.
Start on second base, third base.
Especially for something like communications, right? So much trust goes into this. If you're going to let someone at your Twitter, feed posting on behalf of your company, you really have to be savvy and strategic about it. So that's another pitch here is for a different company, Breather, who are amazing. They've been a customer for a while, and this is just Amy's pitch, and it's just so beautifully handcrafted. She really talks about, she's writing it in a Breather space as she's composing it. This is her background.
Genius. What a move.
I know. But, these are the handcrafted pitches that you just wouldn't get elsewhere.
So they're making $30 to $40 an hour freelance.
In that space. We also have people that are on, $100 an hour and things like that.
Oh, really? For what?
So more like strategy and marketing, top-level marketing, growth, geared related roles as well. So it depends. On the site, we've got education on what we think that the pay rates are. And there's also fixed jobs. So they're more retainer-style relationships where I might be like, do PR for me for $2K a month, and this is what I want to expect out of it.
Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah. So
because here's the thing about hiring a PR firm.
Oh, there's no transparency or
$10,000,
accountability.
$15,000. You get you get sold on it by some super high-end, amazing, dynamic person, and then they put some knucklehead 22-year-old on your account who can't spell or can't write well.
Yeah, it's exactly right. You're really paying. I said this morning to someone. You're paying for the exposed brick wall in the agency's office, right?
Which is bullshit.
So I think agencies
I call
are broken.
bullshit on it.
It's all about the show. It's not about accountability.
So you're calling bullshit?
We have agencies that work with CloudPeeps. They, hire peeps.
But not the ones who are wasting it on the exposed brick wall.
But it's too late. Time's already run out. Marketing's changed. It's become more accountability. It's more of a science nowadays. And so you can't get away with saying, pay me $10K and I'll get you one article in TechCrunch.
Yeah. I think TechCrunch only charges like $7,000 for an article now.
But this is what PR,
That was the best. When you look at they basically gave somebody an article for an iPad, a MacBook Air.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, the kids sold it for MacBook Air. And they're like, oh, no, that's like an intern or something. It's like, yeah, bullshit.
And then the step further is that people are realizing that those spikes don't necessarily convert.
No, it's garbage. So you want the Product Hunt spike or the Hacker News. Those are the winners.
So we have one company that's incredible, Student Loan Hero. It's a loan consolidation service. The guy's great. He understands marketing, makes money, everything. He's got one of his peeps did a Reddit campaign, and now he's making like $1,000 a month just from this Reddit referral.
So they know how to do the right. See, what I like about what you're doing is for CEOs and founders.
Yep.
It's nice to do a little experiment and learn. So what I did was I put this up there, and I was like, I'm gonna hire. I don't tell the people who are applying. I'm going to hire 3 different ones. And have them do 2 episodes each.
Yep.
And then I'll look at it, and then I can create a best practice around what I think makes the perfect episode guide.
Definitely.
Then I pick the best 1 or 2, and then I give them the work.
I think
so in a way, it's almost research for me to see what ideas they come up with.
But it's testing relationships, right? So
that too.
This is an interesting thing, but 100% of the people I hire full-time now to work at CloudPeeps HQ have come from testing relationships via freelance.
Right.
It's like dating. I hate to do the analogy, but when you are going...
No, it's okay to do a dating analogy. No, I don't think it's sexist or in any way crass.
But when you go full-time, it's like going straight into marriage. And I've had relationships that didn't work out. I thought it was going to be the best job ever. And then a couple of months later, I'm like, I had no idea this was what it was going to be like.
Right. So you want to go on a couple of dates, not move in together.
Yeah, and then after
call it U-hauling.
Yeah, and I think there's so much shame about relationships that don't work out. Whereas if you go in going, let's test this, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, no harm, no foul.
Yeah,
if I pay... Let's say I pay this guy 4 hours, $35 an hour, and it costs me whatever, $140, and it doesn't work out. I'm like, $140 is not a big deal. I didn't hire you full time, and you didn't have to fill out all this paperwork and get whatever. But it does work out. I might be like, hey, you know what? You want to work full time? If
And
you're a super
we have
fan,
that as well. We do contract
what do you
hire.
do for that? If I hire somebody full time,
It's
do I
quite
have to buy you out?
Yeah, we take a 15% fee of what would have the annual cost of the CloudPeep plan.
So if I buy somebody for 70, if I hire somebody for 70K, or it would have been,
It's actually just on because we know the actual CloudPeeps cost. We don't know salary, so we worked it out on, say if you were paying $1,000 a month, then we take
1,500
Yeah,
bucks
yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, that's fair
Yeah, it's totally fair.
because you're taking the person out of.
But what's interesting about the psychology of the peeps is they're not actually looking sometimes for full-time jobs.
No, who wants a full-time job anymore?
Yeah, and we have all different generations, but millennials are really interesting.
Yeah.
Because people are seeking freedom, flexibility. They're seeking experiences. And the number one thing isn't necessarily about how much money they get paid.
Yeah.
It's around, am I valued? Am I living the life I want to live? Am I happy?
I was thinking, actually, there was a guy, Ryan, who did these internet events. What did he call them in London? Anyway, he's doing Treehouse now. I forgot the name of his events. Anyway, he had a company that was an events company, and they worked 4 days a week. They had no Fridays.
Oh, is it the beards, the free beards?
I don't know. But anyway, he had a number of mothers working for him, and he did Ryan Carson, right, of course, and he's doing Treehouse. And I guess at some point he just had this like epiphany, like I have all these people working for me, and 5 days a week is not their ideal number. 4 days a week is their ideal number. So we're just going to have a 4 day a week company. And he paid people, I think, 20% less or whatever it was. He prorated, but everybody took the 4 day a week option. So he's like, you know what? Screw it. Everybody spend time with your kids. We're done. Monday through Thursday we'll kick ass, and then we'll take Fridays off.
Well, actually, I think in any work day there's 5 hours of true productivity, and the rest is just like I remember when I worked
bullshit. The rest is bullshit.
So when I got my first job out of college, I was like, okay, I wanted to crush every hour, and I'd go into the office, and people would be making toast for like 2 hours and having coffee and going for 2 hour lunches. And I'm like, I'd rather be at home doing something else and get the work done, get the results, and then like be able to spend time.
I think it's the future of work is going to be this on-demand stuff where like you press a button, and this is where like the Uber analogy makes sense for you, which is, let's say this person's like, you know what, I don't know, my kid is going to Paris and I want to go on the trip with them for 3 weeks. I'm going to go on the trip. But you know what, my kid is in class for 3 hours a day. I'm going to push the button when I'm in Paris, work for 3 hours a day. Then I'm going to check out and not work.
One of the things, though, I steer away from saying is on demand, because I don't think people are on demand. Like a lot of our
Well, you find that insulting, the language?
Yeah, like we're not buttons, right? Like push a button, it's not like we show up.
I see it the other way around, that you push the button and the work for you as the peep is on demand.
I like
not that I'm demanding you, that you're demanding work.
Yeah, so when people talk about like the Uberification of the service economy, they're talking about people that are going to, it's like, I want you to do this and come over and clean my house. Whereas peeps are taking power and control in their own hands. It's about their own, their earning potential and their freelance businesses. It's not and some of the best peeps don't have, it's like surge pricing for their availability, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if this guy's like, hey, listen, I'm working for Jason Calacanis and I'm a super fan. You want me to write like the Tim Ferriss, you want me to write Tim Ferriss's stuff, Gary Vaynerchuk's? Like, I work for Calacanis, so I'm going to charge those guys double. I'm just screwing my friends.
No, well,
I know you guys are awesome. But that could be the thing, right?
No, it happens. And this is when they're evaluating opportunities. People evaluate them from numerous things. It's not necessarily always pay. But then say if a construction company, even though they could be the coolest one ever, came and said, I want you to do social media, maybe they're like, well, for that, you're going to have to I'm charging it more because it's not necessarily what I'm truly passionate about.
I'm building a new company. It's going to be you work 2 days a week.
Yeah.
We're going to have a 2 day work week.
It's negative work.
It's 2 days a week, 2 days a week. We're going to work like 10 hours. We just tape 4 episodes of This Week in Startups. And then that's it. We're done.
But the thing is, like freelancing is hard. Like people end up, you do go out.
What's hard about the predictability of income, right? That's the hardest thing, I think.
But that's one of the things that's cool about CloudPeeps is that we take the payment and then we pay them in bi-weekly, which I say fortnightly in Australia. And people
it's every 2 weeks.
People don't get that. They're like,
fortnightly.
Ye old English. So then they get paid every 2 weeks and then they have that income. So we've already collected it. It's not like you're chasing 5 weeks later, where's my pay?
And you are encouraging people to go onto these monthly deals, and that makes it all the easier.
Yeah, and people love retainers. People love the structure and the stability of knowing who their clients are.
On both sides.
Exactly. Well, that's it. Marketers and founders who are our core customers, they have a budget and they want to have that budget and that's what they want to stick to. They don't necessarily want to say, invoice me this and that. They want
average spend is $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Pretty good business.
Yeah.
And you guys take 20%?
We take 15 on average. We have some jobs that are 10, some jobs at 20, but 15's the thing.
Sounds like it's worth it for you to get whatever that is, $5 of the $30 an hour or whatever it is, or $6 of the 35, because you got to get the customers.
Yeah, so if you think about a lot of our talent, they actually don't like doing biz dev and lead gen, and even selling themselves, it's like kind of awkward. So we hook it all up, and then we have all the tools that manage it. I think there's ways that as we scale in the future, we can make it really enticing and sticky long term with that take fee. But for now, that's seemed to work really well, and people really love what we've been doing.
What is this fast growth VC that you came out of in New York? I heard about that. Is that a lawyer runs it or something?
Yeah. Ed Zimmerman.
Ed Zimmerman runs.
It's FirstGrowth VC, and
it's no equity and no money.
Yeah, exactly.
You just show up and you hang out.
Yeah, basically it goes for about 12 weeks.
Is he your attorney?
He is.
Okay, so that worked for him.
But he wasn't actually our attorney when we went in there. So he built
the trust.
I know. I've really perplexed.
Did you feel guilty that he wasn't your attorney? And like, you know what? He's doing so much for me. I got to make this guy my attorney.
The other attorney wasn't working out, so it helped. No, I think it's an interesting model. It's basically really about building New York as that community. So it's more of him rallying people together. There's some great companies that have come out of it, like Skillshare, for instance. I think some ad tech New York companies. But it's definitely hands off. It's more of a startup community that you're part of. Yeah.
I love it. I think it's a great start you're off to. I'm going to test it.
Yeah.
And I'm testing it because then maybe, who knows, maybe I'll invest in this company. I don't know. This could be interesting.
We've got to shorten
You
the
came
cycle.
to the Open Angel Forum the other night.
It was brilliant.
It was fun, right? The burgers were good.
It happened with such serendipity. It's what I really loved about San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, I met you from Marin from Zirtual, who I'm a huge fan of. She's an advisor.
Yep.
And she was like, hey, check this business out. And I was like, hey, I'm having angels over my house for dinner. 9 out of the 10 showed up. Tony Conrad got sick.
Yeah.
And 9 out of the 10 showed up. Everybody presented for 5 minutes.
And your daughter serenaded us with the little
That was funny, too. She did Hello from the other side. She did a little bit of Adele.
Yeah, it was amazing.
But she changed the lyrics.
Yeah, she said hello like 10 times.
Yeah. I thought that was quite charming. My daughter says, come with me. And I'm like, I got to do the Open Angel for him. And she's like 5. She's turned 6. Today's her birthday, actually. And I said, okay. And she goes, everybody stop talking and listen to me.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we know who her dad is. I think we know whose kid this is. And then the ukulele out with 2 strings on it, it starts singing for everybody.
It was amazing. And then the dogs are hilarious.
The English bulldogs are hilarious.
Yeah, they're really cool.
I think doing it at my house was...
Oh, it was
It made it
really
intimate
cool.
and fun, right?
I actually am not a massive fan of the pitch style because I think you have to pitch in a really certain way to get it. And, but I think it's really good practice. But then that was kind of really disarming. Like it was really everyone in there. We had burgers.
Burgers. You did burgers on like a paper plate.
Yeah, it was really
have a soda,
low-key.
whatever. Sit at the table, eat some fries. I was trying to disarm everybody.
It was really good. And then
This way the money flows.
It just felt like really intimate, and some of the people that I've been wanting to reach out to
were there.
And then they followed up like the next day.
Wow.
Hey, let's
catch
up.
So of the 9 angels, how many have you been in contact with or have contacted you?
I think 6.
2 out of 3?
Yeah, it was actually really...
That's extraordinary.
I don't know. For once, I was like, wow, that's really cool. And all reached out as well.
All right. Well, here, there's one thing you can do to help me, Ben. You can pay me back. Write a blog post about how it was.
I will do that.
Like just like you can pay some peep to write a blog post about it.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
It's very helpful if a founder says, hey, this was helpful to me, and why? Because then I can send that to other founders or to other angels and say, look, here's somebody who went and had a good experience.
Oh, it's probably one of the best experiences that I've had with interfacing with
ship me 50 bips so I can have a little bit of taste of this because I think it's going to be a big business. It's one of the nice things about being an angel now.
Yeah.
And like you hit an Uber, or you hit a Thumbtack, or you hit a Raise.com, or you hit a Wealthfront.
Yeah.
None of my investments ever matter again on a return basis. So everything I do is just for fun now.
Yeah, which is great. And you hope that there's more than just fun. But I think you can go into it with the relationship that...
I just don't have to do there's no pressure on me anymore.
Yeah.
It feels great to be an angel with no pressure on you.
Yeah, it's quite rare, I think.
It is rare.
Yeah.
My God, my life is great.
And you wrangle other people. Well, you wrangle other people in the syndicate, but it's not like you're wrangling people in a...
I just tell people, like, listen, if you want to come. If you don't.
And they follow.
Yeah, like I had some company that like was like kibitzing back and forth about the
Yeah.
incubator, another company that was kibitzing back and forth about some details. I was like, you know what? I told the company that I had given money to already. I was like,
Yeah.
if you don't want me as an angel investor, just give me the money back and rip up the term sheet. I don't need I don't, whatever gain I made in the last 9 months. If you're not happy with me, just give me the money back, rip up the term sheet, take my name off the cap table, whatever. And I'll see you at the next event.
I like that approach as a founder as well, because we've been making money right from day one. We're in a position where I'm like, I'm doing this anyway. Like, you can come on the journey and come with us. But
Train's leaving the station.
Yeah, I don't need permission or don't need...
I agree.
And then that's just, I think it's always about creating that ability to be in a position of freedom, which is actually what CloudPeeps is all about, really.
Right.
It's freedom on the customer or the client side.
You don't need a ton of money to run this business.
Yeah, and then...
Is it profitable already, or it's close?
It would be, but we've got the team. If I made the team, orchestrated the team, or we got paid like ramen salaries. But San Francisco's hard, which is what plugs into also allowing people to work remotely.
For sure, you should not. I mean, I'm thinking about moving my incubator and my entire operation to Berkeley.
Yeah.
Or San Bruno or
that's
something.
Hardly, when I think remote, I'm like, it's not over the bridge.
Well, no, of course, but I'm thinking just in terms of like, if I have 14 companies come to my incubator every semester and I do 4 semesters a year and it's whatever number of companies, 60 companies, half of them are coming from outside the United States. They can't afford to live here.
No, they can't anymore.
And it's like, well, they're all living in the East Bay anyway, or they're all living in the South Bay or somewhere in between.
Create the next hub.
I am the hub. Like wherever I put my hat is where people will go. So I could put it somewhere where people can afford the goddamn rent. The rent's too damn high.
Yeah. I think it's really exciting I mean, it's almost like the privilege of the previous generation was to go work in New York and like be right in the city.
Yeah.
Now it's like to go raise chickens and live on a little farm and like...
Yeah, they're all in Woodstock.
Yeah.
The hipsters have invaded Woodstock.
No, it's true.
They're all up in Kingston.
Yeah, well, they say the New Williamsburg in New York is now Kingston. What is it? It's upstate.
Hudson.
Yeah, Hudson on...
Hudson.
High on Hudson or something.
Something like that, on the Hudson.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, they're all moving upstate because they're like, you know what? This doesn't make any sense. I could buy a house for $150,000 upstate. And I just all you need is a hipster coffee place.
Yeah.
You put in one hipster coffee place to get some suspenders and a
fast Wi-Fi.
You put in some Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You get a guy with handlebar mustache, and he can make a good espresso and do good latte art. What's the difference?
I know.
All we're doing is drinking coffee and writing proposals. We do it from anywhere.
Well, I go into...
I'm getting an island.
No, it's true. But I go into huge tech company offices in the Bay Area, and everyone's using Slack. Everyone's talking online. So they're silent. Work is all online. Communication is online, which is cool for the introverts, because I also think, what's happened with work, it's, offices, and now it's like other people can communicate.
Do you have real estate peeps? This is a proposal. I want a proposal from one of my super fans of a location within 25 miles of WeWork at 25 Taylor. So 25 miles from Soma. Anywhere in that 25-mile radius, I need a room for 500 desks in a warehouse. Somebody bring me a proposal.
Yeah.
I'll buy the building.
Co-living space.
And co-living, yes.
It's not co-working, it's co-living now.
Well, here's the thing. Just give me 500 desks and a bunch of cheap apartments around it.
Yeah.
And I don't need to buy up the apartment buildings. If it's $1,000 rent, who cares? You just get somewhere where rent is $1,000 for a 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
Does that exist within 25 miles of San Francisco? It must.
I think there are places...
Where, in a Sunset? In a Richmond? Somewhere it's got to exist.
Definitely. Well, Pacifica, I think that's...
Where's that? Where's Pacifica? I know where that is.
Yeah. It's actually really nice. It's on the ocean and surfing
that place is great.
And you can still drive to the city. I think it...
What is that, 15 minutes maybe?
Yes, it's nothing
30
if
minutes.
you've got a car.
This is the thing. So you come from where? Sydney or Melbourne?
Melbourne. But
you're from Melbourne?
It's Melbourne. Yeah, it's not
You ever see the movie Animal
Melbourne.
Kingdom?
No.
You ever see the movie Animal Kingdom?
No, I actually haven't, which is bad.
It's the greatest film to ever come out of Melbourne. I have a good friend from Melbourne.
Who's that?
Andrew Bogut.
Oh.
Plays basketball.
Oh, okay.
For the Warriors.
Oh, I have no idea about Australian basketball.
No, he plays at the Warriors here in the United States, Kate. Oh, my God. He's going to be an angel investor, too.
Oh, wow.
He's going to come to, I think he's going to come
He needs a peep. Personal peep for...
All right, enough. Listen, this is amazing. What an I'm going to go check. I got to go check on my...
pitches.
I got to go check on my pitches here. I'm going to hire some of these people. CloudPeeps.com. Follow Kate Kendall. And what a great episode. Oh, look at that. Sean Percival is an investor.
Yeah, 500 startups.
500 startups. Sean Percival started his career working at Mahalo with me.
Oh, wow.
I knew that kid was super talented.
Yeah.
He had a big sign over his head. when I met him.
And then he
said,
did-
hire me.
He became MySpace
Talented.
expert, right?
Hire me. Talented. And then there was a little sign underneath it, pain in the ass. But it did definitely said, hire me. Talented. But like a little bit of maintenance. Like any talented person. All right. We'll be back right after this message. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. And as part of our e-commerce special, we're looking at companies who are doing e-commerce, especially on mobile, which is a huge trend. We were wondering back in the 90s if people would ever put their credit card on the internet. Well, we figured that out pretty quickly. Amazon did, at least. And now we all wondered, would people actually buy on their phones? And boy, are they buying like crazy. Our next company, again, an investment I was lucky enough to make, is Bento. And the founder is Jason Dumont. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, Jason.
So you started Bento. You went through the incubator that we do, the launch incubator, and you've been selling thousands of Bentos a month over the last, 6 months, 9 months since you launched?
No, we are at 9 months. Yeah, 9 months since the last launch festival.
9 months.
Yeah.
And so what have you learned in those 9 months specifically about people doing commerce on their phones? And explain what Bento is, and we'll do a little demo in a second. Yeah.
Sure. So I'll just say what it is quickly. So we deliver bento boxes on demand. And the way that we're different from a lot of the other players is, one, you get to customize the exact meal that you want. So instead of having a broccoli with chicken and having no choice, we actually get to say, do you want something besides broccoli with your chicken?
Got it.
And so being able to customize your own meal. We focus only on Asian food, Asian-inspired meals for now, and we're in San Francisco. So what have we learned?
So it's on-demand food in 15 minutes.
That's right, 15 to 20 minutes.
Because there are people who are watching this. It's funny, like if you live in San Francisco, you're spoiled.
That's true.
There are literally 3 or 4 services: Munchery, Sprig, Spoon Rocket, Bento, Uber Eats.
Uber Eats, sure. Postmates Pop, Caviar's Fast Bite, yeah.
Oh, Postmates has on-demand quick meals now too with Pop.
Yep.
And so you can basically get dinner in under 15 minutes.
Yep, lunch, dinner, yep.
And this hasn't gone to other places in the country, but it is changed consumers' expectation, hasn't it?
Oh my gosh. It's crazy the expectations that are set by all of these companies here, in that we try our best to give our customers an estimate of the expected arrival time, and it is frequent where we get a little bit busy and it'll be 30 minutes, maybe 35, 40 minutes, and we'll get cancellations because I can't wait that long.
I cannot wait 35 minutes for my food.
I can't wait.
Meanwhile,
this is crazy.
last year, if you order off of like the services like Grubhub or some of these other ones, they're terrible.
Yeah.
I don't mean to single them out, but I've just had horrible experience after horrible experience with those old services.
Sure.
They take an hour and a half, and you don't know who is going to bring your food. And there's like a big black box where, your order goes in and you never get updates.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big challenge with companies like that is they work with restaurants. Restaurants, if they see a customer, they're much more likely to interact with that customer. So if they're busy at their place and they've got a fax or an email, which by the way, most of this still runs through fax, coming in, they're going to ignore it. And then that's how you end up with a not so great customer experience.
Whereas Sprig, Bento, and Spoon Rocket and Munchery, the only customers you have are these on-demand customers.
That's right. It's
So
a whole business.
They are the beginning and the end.
That's right.
So show us the app just briefly, how it works. I know you're doing lunch now too.
We are, yeah.
Which does better, lunch or dinner?
We started with dinner, so dinner was very much ahead. Lunch caught up in about 2 months, which was pretty crazy to see how fast that grew. And then we shrunk our delivery zone for lunch a bit, so then lunch went down again. And now we've expanded lunch again as we've gotten better operation-wise. And so now lunch is pretty quickly catching up. But to answer your question, dinner is still ahead of lunch right now, but I suspect lunch will be catching up again pretty quickly.
Yeah,
and will likely surpass dinner.
And lunch makes sense because people are busy at work. They just want to grab something quick, and speed really is of the essence, and convenience is super of the essence when you're working at some busy company.
That's right.
So show us the app briefly here.
Sure. So
we'll pull it up on the screen.
let's see here.
Okay, there you go. I can see you're on the screen, and you open the Bento app.
So it loads, and what you're presented with is a bento. So
An empty bento.
An empty bento. So a bento is one main dish and 4 sides, and then you go through and you build your bento. So start by choosing a main dish. So you've got 4 different options every day. So this is a pretty standard menu. We've got a chicken dish.
Mongolian beef.
Yep, a beef dish, one of our Mongolian beef, one of our most popular.
I love the poke.
The Hawaiian salmon poke, very popular as well, and then some sort of like special sushi roll as well. So, for example, the Golden California. So we can add the Golden California roll into our bento.
Okay.
And then you can start building your side dishes. So we've got 6 different options, again, every day. So things like a salad, some vegetables, gyoza, always got to have the jasmine rice, and then the spicy tuna roll, sriracha meatballs, just a very a nice eclectic menu. So then you can just add whatever you want. So if you want the jasmine rice to go with your sushi, let's say you wanted 2 portobello mushroom medleys, and then you could add the sriracha meatballs. Now
Well, sounds nice to me. I would have gone 2 meatballs, but okay. I would have gone a little more keto,
and
a little more paleo.
Sure. And
that's what's nice about it, right? Because with the other ones, you order like Sprig or Spoon Rocket, they're like, this is what you're having.
That's
and I'm
right.
like, well, I don't want rice. I'm trying to save off carbs.
That's right. Sure.
And then I wind up throwing it away, feeling like an idiot.
Yeah.
I would have rather had double vegetable.
Sure. Yeah, and you can do double meatballs, and there was
You could do triple meatballs, quadruple meatballs.
You could do triple.
Do people do that?
Some people do. There have been times where we have to limit things just because inventory starts getting a little bit hard to fulfill. So there are little things that we have to do occasionally on the back end just to make the operations wise flow smoothly. But yes, people have absolutely ordered all meatballs, all sushi bentos are common. So
and you have the 2.0 coming.
That we do. Yes.
And can I mention what the big change is on the packaging? Because I heard this.
Yeah, sure.
So you tell people.
So we're going. So right now there's we've got 5 options with a bento, and what we've learned is kind of 2 things. It's a little bit too much food, which is kind of crazy to say, but
it's too generous.
It is a little bit too generous, both on the cost side and also the feedback side. People have often said, like, I kind of wish there was 1 or 2 less sides, or things a little bit smaller. So we're going to 4 total dishes, so 1 main dish and then 3 sides. And what we're also changing is we're going to make things a lot more interchangeable. So right now, let's say you wanted a Golden California roll, Mongolian beef, and Hawaiian salmon poke. Let's say
you can't do it.
We can't do it.
So there's just going to be 4 different boxes.
That's right.
All of equal size.
That's right.
So the concept of a main and sides goes away.
A bit. We're still going to have, we're still playing around with how we'll message it through the app. We are going to have, let's say premium and then your standard options. I'm not sure.
Are you going to just make it like there's a cost per box?
That's right. So
like the beef might be $7. So if you do 4 beefs, hey, listen, you're at $28.
That's right.
But the rice is $2.
That's
so
right.
if you do 2 rice, it's $4. So you could actually be on a budget.
That's right.
That's actually kind of nice because, like, let's say, because there were times in my life when I was broke, and I would order knishes. So this is my thing. I knew the place in Manhattan where the guy had a 50-cent knish as opposed to the 75 or dollar. So I go to the hot dog guy who had 2 knish. I get 2 knishes for $1, and then he would give you a soda for 35 cents, 50 cents, whatever. So I'd be in for like $1.35, $1.50, and I would get 2 knishes because it would fill me up.
Yeah. That's a pretty cheap lunch.
It was pretty great in Manhattan.
Yeah, not bad. So the nice thing is we'll let you decide. So if you want the more if you want all premium and you're okay with spending $20, $25 for a bento, go for it. If you're on more of a budget and you want the chicken, and we're still going to have kind of the reasonable sides. So the sides that we see here are still the mushroom, the spicy tuna roll, the sriracha meatballs. Those are still going to be kind of under that same basic umbrella.
I wonder if it's going to confuse people, though, that the bento is variable pricing. I almost feel like maybe it should just be $14 for a bento. Go crazy. And if some people go crazy and abuse it and pick 4 beef, you just, maybe on that one you don't make any money. Well, you break even, but you make profit on the other. I mean, all of them you'll make profit. Let's talk about that for a second.
Sure.
The big news in all of Silicon Valley is, hey, the unicorns are getting marked down by Fidelity. Everybody's a little bit, hey, the party... It's not that the party's over, but people are saying, hey, free money doesn't exist forever, and we need you to work on something called unit economic costs. Explain to the audience what unit economic cost is,
Sure,
and how you specifically have driven yours down quite impressively in a short period of time.
Sure. So every business is going to have a different definition of unit economics, but it's basically your cost to deliver to the customer, so your marginal costs. So with our business specifically, we look at obviously starting from the top revenue, and then there's packaging, there's food, there's delivery, and then there's waste. So those are the 4 primary components in our unit economics. And so we were kind of classic Silicon Valley. We had focused very hard on growing the business, and our logic was, it's great to have a positive unit economic business, but if we don't have demand, what's the point? If we can't sell 5,000 of these in a month, what's the point of making $1 or $2 or $3 on them if if it doesn't?
You just want it to get product market fit.
That's right.
Do people want this? And you slam dunk that. I mean,
right.
What was the peak number of bentos in a week or a month?
So we were doing around 1,500, 2,000 bentos in a week at our peak.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So we validated the model that we were going after when we looked at the data in terms of were people ordering multiple bentos. They were. There was no. People often ask what is the bento people order 80% of the time, and it doesn't exist. So once we validated that, we really started focusing on our unit economics. This is something that I wish we could have people fund us to kind of scale up faster and just keep growing and do all these things, but it's just...
But it's not 2014.
It's just not 2014 anymore, unfortunately. So we really focused hard on it. We were able to find multiple dollars of profitability. So about $8 to $10 of profitability in about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
So you went from losing, what, $10, $20 a unit?
That's right, 10 or so, to breaking even on a per bento basis. And we're very close now. We're just a couple weeks away from, I think, switching over and then being profitable on a per unit basis.
And if I remember correctly, as an investor, the two biggest were the waste. In other words, at the end of the day, what's being thrown away in terms of food that didn't get used or being given to the employees to eat, I assume.
Donated.
And the packaging was expensive because you were using prototype packaging. And it wasn't like at scale packaging. So you went from $2 or something per package
to $2.25
to 50 cents or something.
A little less than 50 cents now.
Yeah.
So we're
big change.
Huge. I mean, that's all straight to the bottom line, 100% to the bottom line. So can't wait. We're so close.
Right. And so now when you go out and you talk to investors about the e-commerce business, what are the first couple of questions they ask a founder when they're assessing on-demand companies? Because listen, Uber made everybody on-demand crazy. And then we had on-demand dry cleaning, on-demand food, on-demand veterinary care, on-demand everything. And now everybody's reassessing on demand. We had Shervin write a piece about Munchery, which he's a big investor in, Shervin, who did the B round of Uber and who did Munchery's, I guess, A round or B round. And they said, hey, we're not going to any other markets until we nail San Francisco and the Bay Area and make it profitable. So when somebody comes in to assess your business, what are the questions they ask? What do you have to be prepared for as an e-commerce entrepreneur today?
Sure. So first and foremost, it's unit economics. I'll have people, almost stop me kind of mid-introduction and say, let's just go to your unit economics. Let's jump straight into that. And so we'll go to, let's jump to slide 10 of the deck. Yeah.
Maybe we should make that slide 1.
Probably.
Just preempt everybody.
Probably.
You're probably thinking, can this business be profitable? So that's kind of healthy in a way that people want to know, bottom line, what's the margin going to be on this? So when you start doing, let's say, 10,000 or 20,000 meals a week, which I guess is possible.
Sure.
I think I heard Sprig is doing something like 10,000 meals a night. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know if that high, but...
Thousands a night.
Thousands a night for sure.
So that means tens of thousands a week.
Definitely.
So let's say you had 20,000 a week, what do you think is realistic in terms of unit economic cost margin? What would the margin be on a $14 bento?
Yeah. So I think we can get to the 30, 35, maybe even 40% range in a relatively...
So you make $5.
Yeah.
Per bento. Sell 5,000 a night, 25,000 a night.
Yep. Yeah, $4 to $5 per bento, and especially when you start doing drinks, desserts, those are the things that really can help.
You're going to have those in your 2.0, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it seems to me when I would use Sprig, they always upsold you on like an $8 juice, which you've got to assume is a $4 margin or something like that. They're making the juice themselves, or white labeling somebody else's orange juice or whatever. And people for drinks pay a high margin.
Yeah, they do. It's a good amount of money on the add-ons, on the cross-sells and the upsells. So definitely something that we'll be looking into ourselves, and we've heard that's a big piece of their business as well. Munchery does a really good job of it too. Of you come in for a $10 meal, and then suddenly you're like, oh, the side looks good, this drink looks good, this dessert looks good, and you end up with a $20, $30
And
basket.
tomorrow's food for the kids going to school.
Sure.
You can do a bento for kids or a bento for school tomorrow?
Maybe the 2.5 or something like that.
3.0, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a 3.0, yeah. But it's definitely something.
What's the next thing they ask? They ask unit economics.
So unit economics, and then the next one is competitive. How do you differentiate yourself with so many competitors out there? How do I view the competitive landscape? That's always the.
What's the answer to that question?
So it's usually so there's. How do we differ from our competitors? And that really comes down to the customization. So being able to customize the meal and receive it quickly in that 15 to 20 minute time frame, and standing for something on food. So having this Asian inspired menu as opposed to something that's just kind of across the board. So those are the two differentiators for us. And then people usually want to hear how I look at the landscape, and then have to break down all the different players that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. What have you learned from each of the players out there? What do you think their strengths and weaknesses are? I mean, obviously customization is your strength.
Sure.
And the focus on the food. We talked about that.
Yeah.
I've never ordered from Munchery. Is that like you put it together yourself, or you heat it yourself? It's cold?
Yeah. So the thing that's awesome about Munchery's business, and I'm just talking strictly from a business perspective, is two things. One, they get everybody to order ahead. So typically you have to order dinner by 2 o'clock, 3 p.m. And so
they know exactly what they're shipping.
They know what they're shipping. They can plan out.
If you miss that window, you can't order?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh. Well, that sucks.
Yeah. So
So everybody who misses the Munchery window has to go to Sprague and Spoon Rocket.
That's right.
And Bento. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, interesting.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And
but that gives them predictability?
And they typically end up with higher basket sizes, because think about the people that plan ahead for their meals.
They have kids.
Yeah, they're thinking for more than themselves typically.
Right.
So if you look at this is publicly available data, you look at how much an average order size is for Munchery versus Sprig versus Spoon Rocket, even us, they've got 2x, even 3x sometimes the average order size.
Right. So they're getting $40, $50
that's
orders.
Right. That's right. So their orders are nice. So from a customer standpoint, though, getting cold food delivered and,
I hate that.
It's not an ideal experience. So you're trading some things with them. But, the order ahead is something that we find particularly interesting, and also going to be coming in our 2.0.
Yeah.
So we'll incentivize people.
They give you like a 15-minute window. They'll be here between 5 and 5:15 or a half hour.
For dinner, it's typically an hour, actually.
Really?
So you choose 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I live in Oakland, and that's the Oakland time. Maybe it's more precise in San Francisco. I'm not sure, but I know in Oakland it's our time windows.
Yeah, this is why I don't order it. I'm not like planning ahead like that. Right. I mean, it's sort of the antithesis. If I wanted to do that, I would just order Instacart and cook myself.
Yeah.
So like the second you have to heat it up, I feel like that's work.
Yeah.
What's this other one, Blue Apron?
Sure.
This is you order and you put the meal together yourself. Takes 15 minutes?
No, it does definitely not take 15 minutes. This is so with Blue Apron, Plated, and these folks, you get like a whole bell pepper, and you have to cut up that bell pepper and strip it and really.
Oh, that's work. I've done that bell pepper.
This is real work. Yeah. So claims are in the 30-minute range. Right. My personal experience has more been in like the 45 to 60 minute range.
What are they doing? They're just putting together they put the ingredients in the bag for you,
that's
so
right.
to speak?
Yeah. So
that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, is this for people who don't know how to read a recipe?
Yeah, it's for people that don't want to shop, and it's for people that don't want to figure out what to make. So they have great dishes that you typically may not have thought of to put together. They give you everything. There's no waste with these, because they're literally giving you, like, if you need this much cumin, you get this much cumin.
I see. Now I get it. So you don't have to order $4 in sage. They give you 3 sage leaves for your risotto.
That's exactly right.
Well, that's ridiculous.
I
heard it's doing well, though.
These are huge businesses. There are so many players in this space.
But
too.
the other thing I heard about Blue Apron is waste. They send you a box.
It's crazy.
I heard that it's like everything is packaged, so you're basically unpacking 6 or 7 things, and then you have a box.
9, 10 things, yeah.
And that it's basically the worst thing for the environment ever.
So they give you a pretty
Which people have said about Bento too.
Sure, and we are working very hard on improving that, and with our 2.0. So you get a box, and then you get these huge frozen packs in them, and there's like 4 or 5 of them, and they're huge and heavy. And
Is this UPS delivered or?
yeah, UPS delivered.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So basically, this is creating this huge carbon footprint for these businesses, the on-demand businesses.
Yeah.
But you're going to get the packaging down.
We'll get the packaging down.
You'll probably cut it in half, I think.
Yeah, material-wise, it's going to be far less, and it's 100% compostable. So the food's still in there. You toss it in the compost, and this is stuff that will compost in 15, 30 days in your backyard composting too.
And what have you learned about the e-commerce business in general? Is there a predisposition, and on mobile, is there a predisposition for certain types of people to do this, i.e. is this the trend millennials, or is it moms? Is it seniors? I mean, is it iPhone users or Android users?
Yeah.
Are there some trends that you look at and go, hey, this is obviously the trend is X, Y, and Z?
Sure. So the demographics of our business is very much professionals. So these are people that are working in offices. These are typically very busy people. They're not really young. It's a little bit older than I don't know, how old are millennials now?
I guess they're in their 20s.
Okay, so we're a little bit, we do skew a little bit older than that. So upper 20s to 30s. And for us, and maybe this is a San Francisco thing, Android just
doesn't exist.
It does. It's crazy, the difference in the usage between
9 to 1, 8 to 1, 8 to 2. What? Out of 10, 70%, 80%.
Yeah, it's
iOS?
probably 70 to 80% iOS.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. And
this is why I think they really they had that 5C Apple.
yeah.
And it was kind of like a ganky phone that
Yeah.
was still expensive. They need to come out with
4-inch.
What's that?
The rumors are they'll have a 4-inch for the
4-inch.
4-inch, yeah. So low.
Oh, the 4-inch one is coming.
4-inch,
Yes.
yeah.
They have to come up with a phone that I think is a $99 or a free phone or something just incredible.
Yeah.
That you're just like, listen, it doesn't have a 4K, and they just compromise all the standards on it, but it's the cheapest iOS device you can get.
Yeah.
That they just go crazy to just get that low end of the market. They would race through it, and I don't think it would cannibalize the iPhone 6, because what happens, people would get addicted to it, and they would want the
higher end ones.
They would want the higher one and realize it's worth it.
And if you're already an iPhone user, you're not going to downgrade.
No, I'm not going to go from 4K beautiful, images of kids. So knowing what you know now, what's your advice to people who are listening who are starting an on-demand business specifically? On demand.
Sure. Get it as far as you can without needing to raise money.
Explain.
When you raise money, the clock basically starts ticking, and you've got to start showing progress. And let me rephrase this. Let me say, be really strict on looking at the unit economics, looking at profitability, and making sure you're building a sustainable business, because you're always, even if the funding environment changes and there's a lot more money out there, you still have a better business, and it makes things easier. You don't have to raise money. It gives you those options, and typically as a founder, you want things to be under your control, and that keeps things under your control. So that's and on demand. Yep.
How big is this going to be in your mind? What does the on-demand economy look like in, let's say, 10 or 20 years?
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
And if you succeed?
Sure.
Specifically for your business and just for life in general as consumers. What will it look like in 2025? Yeah,
it's a good question. I think it can be. I think it will be much, much bigger. For our business, what it will look like is ordering food it shouldn't matter too much about your density. You'll have to pay a little bit more on a delivery fee if you're in less dense areas. So there will be this kind of variable pricing. So if you're in a city, I think it will be less expensive because it's just less expensive to service. And if you're in more remote areas or lesser dense areas, suburbs, things like that, I think you will have to pay a little bit higher of a delivery fee. But what you can do is you can aggregate things. So there's a big network effect here. So as we start scaling up San Francisco, we start getting better food costs and things like that. And so you start really being able to compete with somebody going to the grocery store and buying food. So even with a little bit of a delivery fee, we think we can get prices comparable to going to the grocery store, buying yourself, doing it yourself, and especially if you start actually factoring in your time to prepare everything.
When do the robots and drones start delivering these bentos?
Can't wait. I would hope sooner than later. That would certainly simplify a lot of things. That actually, that's a factor I hadn't really thought about too much, but that could eliminate this extra delivery cost. So, when that starts happening, I mean that's a huge game changer.
I could literally see a robot. Like literally a stand-up square, like if it looked like a refrigerator.
Yeah.
That just rolled around the streets. And when it got to your house, it would stop.
Yeah.
And it would open bay number 3.
Yeah.
Assemble your bento in the unit.
Yeah.
Put it into bay 3.
Yeah.
You would come, you would type in your code, or you'd have your NFC phone or whatever, you get close to it. It'd go, open it up, slide the bento out, you take your bento, you go back in your house.
Yeah.
And these robots could just be patrolling. They could be like, the top half could be hot, the bottom half could be cold.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 assemble everything, and you're done.
Yeah. We've often pictured it in like a van, like a larger van where you've got a unit is assembled in the van, and then once it's assembled, the drone pops out of the top of the van and then flies over and.
Or the van just pulls up outside your house. It's autonomous, and it's got 10 bays on the side.
Yeah.
And it says go to bay 7. You go to bay 7. You type in 3 codes. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, whatever, 2, 1, 3, and it goes opens and your stuff is there.
Or knows your phone can Bluetooth. Yeah. Anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, listen, continued success with this. I think it's an amazing business. The proof is in the pudding. The product is great. People love it. The NPS score has been great, and you've been learning a lot there. And I think my idea for the rice pudding sampler, this is where I think you have to listen to me. I am a foodie, and I understand how people think. This is, if you have to try this, a rice pudding sample. 4 different rice puddings, right? It's all the same base. You make one green tea, you make one peanut butter, you make one classic Tahiti vanilla, Tahitian vanilla, and then mango.
Okay.
I defy anybody to not order J. Cal's rice pudding sampler. If you had 4 different types, so it's a bento rice pudding sampler, it's $8, $10, pure profit, right?
Yeah. Well, rice pudding is
pretty profitable, and think about how easy it is to make. Because you make one rice pudding, and then you dump peanut butter into one, mango into another, and you literally put some mango chutney in, you put some peanut butter on the other, and bang. It's so fast to make, it's so affordable. Because there was a rice pudding place in New York. It was called Rice Dreams, I think. I can't remember, rice something. Anyway, it was in Lower Manhattan, and there was a line out the door. And I would ship it to Los Angeles, this rice pudding.
Wow.
And it had peanut, because I became addicted to this peanut butter one. And that really did cost, they would give you a huge bucket of it for like $15. And then I would spend $15 on ice packing and shipping, because it's $30 to get the peanut butter. It's like, my God, everybody is doing really well on this deal. Anyway, that's my hope, is you do the rice pudding sampler.
Coming soon.
Coming soon to Bento. Everybody use the promo code Jason 20.
Sure.
Jason 20, you get 20% off? Or should it be Jason what?
J-Cal.
J-Cal, J-C-A-L, what my friends call me.
Yeah.
And what do they get? Like 10% off, 20% off?
$5 off. So.
$5. Whoa! Yeah. Use JCAL, get $5 off an already affordable bento. Thank you so much, Jason DeMont, for coming on the program. Follow at Bento. Ooh, you got at Bento on Twitter. Very nicely done. And go to bentonow.com. I guarantee you're going to love it. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an investor and a fan. But wow, you got great investors involved, so that's always good. All right, listen, this has been amazing. Thank you so much to our friends at Braintree. Follow at Braintree on Twitter, obviously, and follow TWI Startups on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can follow Jason, J-A. It's my new joke. When people say, "What's your Twitter?" I go, J. When they, "What's your Instagram?" J-A-S-O. N on Instagram. I got the Instagram. I'm trying to get youtube.com/Jason. That's my dream. Okay, we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.